everybody, thank you so much for watching, and everybody who came today, I appreciate you showing up here. We are in PENN YAN, right?
Yes.
Look at that, I love it. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having us here today. I appreciate that too. I am experiencing social distance. I am more than 8 feet from everybody, so I'll be removing my mask. I am far enough away. I'm being good, and I'm making sure that I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Oh, and he's watching it. There we go. Love it. He's watching it too. So we're even watching it here, which is great. Everyone's actually watching it actually here. Again, as I said, thank you for coming. Someone asked me a question. I want to cover it. I want to cover it because someone asked me a question about how I can feel. People often tell me, Larry, you're running around here doing all these things, but you seem kind of humble about what you're doing. You don't feel like, you feel more approachable than most people. I hear that often. People ask, why are you so approachable? Why do I talk the way I do? It's a very important thing. For people who are in politics, if you know anybody who's gotten into politics or in any situation to where all of a sudden they became popular, it's very common for them to believe, wow, everyone around me is telling me I'm awesome. Maybe I am a god. Maybe I am awesome. Maybe I should rule you all with an iron fist. You shouldn't. But people often think that. Why don't I? Why don't I do that same thing? I am not immune to it. I absolutely could be affected by it. But I had an experience that made me realize that fate will punch anybody. Fate will kick anybody in the stomach. It doesn't matter how smart you are, or you think you are, how good you are, how good you might be. It does not matter. If fate wants to kick you and knock you down, it will. Why does that matter? Because any system in the world, any system that cares about humans, people, has to be a system to where it understands that people will fall down. And it should be a system that allows people to get back up. America is and has always been the nation of second chances. That's what it's been about. People came here for a second shot, a second chance. And we've lost that. We've lost that in our country. Now we're about punish them, cancel culture, end them. They made a mistake, punish them forever. What we've become. I don't want that. I want people to get second chances. I want to have a second chance too. That comes from the issue that happened to me in 2010. You asked, and I'll tell a story now. Some of you know it, you might have heard it before. 2010 was the worst year of my life. I thought the worst year of my life, and it was, prior to that, was when my father died. My father died when I was a kid. That was horrible for me. Obviously, as anyone who's lost a parent, you know how tough that can be. I lost mine when I was very young. I was only 11 or 12 years old when my father passed. But until then, it was 2010. 2010 was bad on a business level. 2010 was bad on a family level. In 2010, my youngest daughter almost died. She had to go into the hospital and have heart surgery at 18 days old. At that point, my wife literally gets up and moves into the hospital, as any parent would do. My daughter's literally in the NICU. She's 18 days old. She has to go for heart surgery. My wife packs up and leaves. I had a 6-year-old daughter at the time. I all of a sudden became a single dad. I became a single dad overnight when I was not the primary caregiver. My wife was a stay-at-home mom, and I was the primary worker. All of a sudden now, I'm single dad, literally overnight. Not just that. Same time, my business is collapsing. From the 2009 crash, I didn't really crash until 2010 because I was the smartest guy in the room, I thought. Right? Come on, I'm optimistic. This crash comes, what's the worst that could happen? 6 months and we're done, right? Yeah, that didn't happen. All of a sudden, it's literally, I'm 6 figures in debt. I've had to let my employees go, shut my office down in Manhattan, and reboot my entire business. It's all collapsing at the same time that my daughter's dying, and my wife has basically left me, and I'm now a single dad. And on top of that, the same week, my mom, who was my last remaining relative at the time, she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. All happened at the same time. Devastating for me. I thought I could fix it all. I thought I could have control. This is when in my life I was at my lowest, at my absolute lowest. And I realized then the system wasn't set for me, that I had to find a way out. This is something that was very enlightening for me. Thinking that I was the smartest guy. I started my business in 2004. By 2006, 2007, I was doing well. By 2010, I was rocking and rolling. I was unstoppable. I thought I was. I wasn't. So to answer your question, that was the time in my life. It made me realize that no matter how cool I think I am, no matter how smart I think I am, if fate wants to kick me in the stomach, it will. So I'm not immune. I just realized I'm not immune. So I think better about that. Did that answer your question at least? That's what made me think. But that isn't why I became a libertarian. I had to reboot my entire business model. Completely, totally changed it. I went from being heavily a sales trainer to becoming a leadership trainer and leadership coach. I adjusted how I did things, and I did more stuff my own. I became leaner and meaner. I had less employees. I changed everything. I had to. There was no choice. That's what I did. That makes me realize that the way that anyone gets out of a bad situation is by taking ownership of that situation. Ownership of their life, ownership of their business, ownership of their health, ownership of everything. And the only advantage that that has is when you look at that, how do people get out of poverty? How do people get out of bad positions? When someone just says, here is the help you need, and let me keep helping you for now until eternity, that person isn't actually helped. That person is actually handicapped. But instead, someone says, here is what you need to get yourself back on your feet. Here is what you need to gain control of your life. That person is actually helping. What government does relatively well is serve you, not help you. There's a difference. Serving you doesn't make you better. Serving you makes you dependent. If government were to help you, you'd be better off. An example I'll give, and some of you may have heard this before, give a good example. I want to work and I want to help people. So I join a government organization to help people, a government department. She runs the department. I say, awesome. Hey, boss, you know what happened? This week, we served 100 people. She says, great job, Larry, you're the best. Thank you, boss. Now, next week I say, we served 110 people. She says, Larry, you are rocking and rolling. You're the best. Thanks, boss. A month later, I say, we're now serving 200 people. She goes, Larry, you're the best. I'm going to go ask for some more money so I can now hire this person. Now, hires her. 2 people now. Look at that. Growing. We're serving more people. Well, now we've served 200 people. A week goes by and I go, we served 150. And she goes, what happened, Larry? Why'd you service 150? Well, people didn't need it. So we serviced 150. They didn't fit the criteria to service them. She goes, Larry, we need 200. If we don't serve 200, I can't afford her. We can't get raises. We need a new printer. How are we going to get money for a new printer if we don't service people? I go, okay. Now these guys come in. They don't fit the criteria. I go, do it anyway. Do it anyway. We need 200. Do it anyway. Of course I do. Are we bad people? No. We're humans in a bad system. So we are. We're humans in a bad system. The system by default encourages us to take on people and encourages corruption. He doesn't like that. He gets mad. He's an honorable guy. He goes, whoa. If I don't qualify for this, it's fine. I don't want to take the money. He goes, this guy's shady. He's like, yeah, I'm so going to give me the money. I'm so going to take it. Right? Well, now what's the next thing? Well, this guy's also taking it. He looks at you and goes, what's wrong with you, man? Take the money. The money's going anyway. What's wrong with you? Take the money, man. Yes. That's what he's saying. He said, yeah, it's government money. It doesn't matter. That's what he's telling him. That's what he's telling him. So all of a sudden he's thinking, but it's wrong, but everyone's telling me it's okay. And when I went to the government organization, she's saying, I need my numbers. Yeah, take the money. And all of a sudden now he's taking the money too. And the entire system is built to create corruption, to not work, to encourage lying. That's what the system's built upon. So of course that happens. But what if all of a sudden I have a plan? I go to my boss, I got a plan, boss. This plan won't serve people. It'll help them so they won't need us anymore. She says, Larry, you're fired. Get out. What are you doing here? I'm not joking. Now I got a union problem all of a sudden now. Making us look bad, Larry. What are you doing? You got a problem all of a sudden. Now change that model. Change that model to a model that helps. Is there a model out there that does that? Yes. The nonprofit that is not government sponsored. If a nonprofit sponsored by the government, same model, because government needs the same checkpoints, same thing, no difference. A nonprofit sponsored by the government is an arm of government. But if it's a nonprofit with a donor base, if any of you have ever gone to a nonprofit event that has a donor base, heavily donors, what will they always put on stage? May I know? A success story. Absolutely, they always do. Here's Bob Smith. We got Bob Smith out of his bad situation, and now he doesn't need us anymore. And donors go, oh, that's amazing. Here's my check. Here's your money. Keep doing that. We believe and trust you because you're showing us that you're doing whatever us as the donors care about. They actually, their job is not to serve. Their job is to help. They are rewarded by helping. The donors give when they show success. In the case of the government agency, they're rewarded as long as the problem exists. In fact, they're rewarded as the problem grows. It is the norm. It's not bad people or bad bureaucrats or bad government workers. It's the system that's broken. You might say, but my Democrats will make it better. No, they won't. My Republicans will make it better. No, they won't. It is in their best interest to not make it better. So they don't. Remember something. Whether you're a Republican or Democrat, whatever you might be, each side has run our government. In the past 30 years, each side has had our government. They've had presidency, or they've had the Congress, or the courts, or all three together combined over the course of the last 40 years. That has happened back and forth through the course of 4 years. Have we seen government shrink? Have we seen intrusion shrink? Have we seen taxes shrink? Nothing. Have we seen our problems go away? No, nothing. It doesn't work. The reason why I spend so much time out here talking about voting gold and supporting the Libertarian Party is the Libertarian Party is the only party that has actual answers, that actually wants to fix things. Many of you saw me on Joe Rogan, right? It was a popular interview that I did. Some of you saw me on Joe Rogan. At the end of the Joe Rogan program, Joe Rogan asked me a question. He said, Larry, all these ideas, are these your ideas? I said, yeah, of course. He goes, you're going to lock these ideas down, hide them. I said, what? He goes, people will steal them. I said, please, take them all. Take all the ideas, fix this. I can go home and go back to work. I can stop doing this. For those who don't know, the reason why I ran for governor in the first place, I ran because I didn't want to move. That's the truth. I was considering leaving, as many people were. New York State, and many states like New York, is so oppressive, it literally breaks up families. I would guarantee everyone in this room knows someone who's lost a family member, left the state. Guarantee it. Because that's what happens. People leave the state. My mother couldn't retire here. She died in South Carolina because she couldn't retire here. So my kids lost their grandma out of their life because she couldn't afford to be here. I was thinking the same thing. 2016, 2017, I'm considering leaving the state. So I literally moved down for a bit. Since I'm in North Carolina, I was looking at Charlotte. What I do in my day job, I need a big city, right, to be around. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'll look around Charlotte. Big city, a lot of big companies. I'll go check it out. And I realized that if I move to Charlotte, I can sell my home in Queens, buy a mansion in North Carolina, and by the way, my house in Queens is 20 feet wide. Not acres or yards, feet. And to get to my backyard, you have to go through my house because my neighbors touch. There's no way around my house to the backyard. You have to walk through it to get to the backyard because my neighbors touch. That house I can sell and buy a mansion in North Carolina and have a better lifestyle. Many people, as you see in New York State, just go, wow, great, pack up and leave. I didn't. I got angry. I said, why in the world is my state so bad, so broken, that I had to lose my mother, and now I've got to move? I'm born and raised in this state. My friends are in this state. My family's in this state. My business is in this state. Why do I have to move? It's not fair. So I decided to run to change it. That's why I'm doing this. Why am I here on a holiday when I should be with my family and friends? Well, I'm with my friends. I should be with my family. when I should be with my family instead, because this matters. We have to vote gold this year. We must vote gold this year. And there are many candidates running, to include Joe Jorgens for president, and many other local candidates throughout New York State who are running. You can make a difference. You can vote gold. But Larry, they won't win. I've heard that before 1,000 times. But Larry, it's a wasted vote. Heard that 1,000 times. Let me touch two of those things that really matter. Most libertarian candidates lose. That's true. Some win. We had 103 victories last year. So libertarian candidates do win. Many don't. But so they don't win. But what happens if they don't win? If a libertarian candidate does well, it makes for better Republicans and better Democrats. Why? Because right now, what are you hearing from almost every Democrat or Republican candidate? I'm not him, so vote for me. I'll save you from the evil other. If you live in an urban area like Syracuse or Utica or New York City, it's probably, I'm not the evil Republican. If you live outside of a major city in New York State, it's probably, I'm not the evil Democrat. Same though. Can you fix anything? Well, I'll save you from him. Okay, can you fix anything? Well, I'll save you from him. Well, he won't. Well, you murdered 2 people. Yeah, but he murdered 4. See? So you got to vote for me. That's what you're hearing. Ask him a direct question. Larry, John Republican, John Democrat, how are we going to fix education? We got to care about the kids. We got to care about the kids and support our teachers and help our parents. Great, how you going to help them? Support our kids, there's no answer. There's no answer. Try to find one, you won't. At best, you'll get the Republican, they say, well, we have to invest. The Democrats, they say, we have to fund. Both mean throw money at the problem through your taxes. It's just different places. Republicans throw it here, Democrats throw it there. Just go throw your money away. But here's the most important piece. Where's the money going to come from now? Before COVID, New York State was at a $6 billion deficit. Post-COVID, so far, we're at a $61 billion deficit. We had 100,000 New Yorkers leaving every single year before COVID. We'll lose at least 200,000 this year, minimum. They are packing up as no tomorrow. You should see New York City. I warned you all of this several years ago. I warned you several years ago of this, and I told you what's going to happen. I warned you 6 months ago of this, and I said you're going to see, particularly upstate New York, you're going to see here people simply abandoning their homes, just packing up and leaving, not paying property tax, not paying the mortgage, and saying, good luck, come get me, see you in court. Every one of you in this room knows of someone who's done that. You've heard of it. You've seen it. Packing up and leaving. Just leaving, abandoning homes. It's starting to happen already. It isn't an epidemic yet. It will be soon. How do I know? In New York City, it's already happening. But they're not abandoning homes. They're abandoning leases. They're abandoning rents. Why in the world would you pay $4,000 a month to rent an apartment in New York City? Yes, it's $4,000 a month. Yes, I saw her face. Her face, her mouth almost fell open. Yes, but I'm not joking. $4,000, $5,000 a month in rent. When no city, when nothing's open, there's no Broadway. There's no 42nd Street. There's no Wall Street. There's no UN. There's no Empire State Building. There's no Statue of Liberty. There's no restaurants. There's nothing going on. Why would you pay for that? There's no work. You won't. So they're literally packing up and leaving. And the guy goes, well, you still got a year left of your lease. See you in court. You pack up and leave. See you in court. You pack up and leave. It's happening everywhere. Where's the money going to come from? Ask His Majesty King Andrew II. All hail King Andrew. I don't want him to put me in jail, so I'd be nice to him. So, well, because now he has executive power that he can just put anybody in jail if he wants to and stop any rule when he wants. So I'd be nice to him. But so how in the world is he going to pay for this? What's his plan? Yeah, nothing. That's his plan. His plan is, Cuomo, I'm Cuomo, please give me money, federal government. That's his plan. So how in the world are let's say, for example, the feds decide to bail us out. They do. They give us $61 billion. By the way, the MTA alone needs $12 billion. Just the MTA needs $12 billion. But let's say we get to $61 billion this year. We're going to get $61 billion next year? Or the year after? No, we're not. We're in trouble, guys. The answer is vote gold. The answer is vote gold. But Larry, it's a wasted vote. Imagine if you had a Democrat Republican who are yelling, I'm the other. Yeah, I'm not the other. And all of a sudden, Libertarian just gets 10 or 15% of the vote only. Still loses 15%. But that covers the spread. And we see what would have happened without it. What does that Republican who won a Democrat won? What does it make them think? I better be more libertarian. Or I better have some actual ideas because I might lose next time. They will have to be better. They will have to have plans. They will have to actually serve us if there was a strong libertarian party. They must. Or they'll lose. But some libertarians will win. But Larry, we can't get enough libertarians into the Senate to control the Senate. We can't get enough libertarians into, the assembly to run the assembly. We don't need that. We don't. Imagine for a second if in the New York State Senate right now, we had 6 libertarians. 6, not 50, not 40, 6. We would control the Senate. We'd be the swing vote. We'd control the Senate with 6. We would be the swing vote. We would decide what gets passed and what doesn't. And when His Majesty says, please pass this bill that gives me insane powers, we would say, no, that's not going to happen. No, we could stop those things. Here's a bill that has one good thing and 25,000 horrible things attached to it. Libertarians go, pull those horrible things out and we'll vote for it. That's what happens. That's what happens. And for those of you who care about the presidency, I have some good or bad news for you. I don't know which one it is. And that news is, if you live in New York State or a state like New York, you have no say who's the president. Sorry, you have no say. That's correct. You got it. Biden gets New York's votes. Doesn't matter what you do. And that's exactly right. Thank you. You read my mind. It doesn't matter what you do. Biden is going to get New York. Trump is going to get South Carolina. That's how that works. Biden's going to get California. Trump is going to get Oklahoma. That's how that works. There's no way around that. That's what's going to happen. If you like Biden, awesome, good on you. If you don't like Biden, I'm sorry. If you live in Oklahoma, you like Trump, good on you. You don't, I'm sorry. That's what's going to happen. If you accept that as true, that's our system. That's how it works. Why in the world would you vote for Biden or Trump if you live in New York? Why would you? You are literally throwing your vote away. That is the wasted vote. You are throwing that vote in the garbage. Or you could vote Libertarian for the future. Or you could do that. You could vote Libertarian for the future. You could vote gold now for the future. You could do that, which would do several things. Number one, make sure the Libertarian Party exists and is powerful in the future. And 2, send a message to the two-party system that it has to support us and work for us and have actual answers, or we're not going to keep rewarding their bad behavior. We're not going to keep rewarding their bad behavior. Well, they don't do anything for us. Will you keep voting for them? Yeah, but they're supposed to do better. I know, but keep voting for them. You're rewarding their bad behavior and wondering why. You vote for them, they do nothing. You vote for them again, they do nothing, and you look up at them and go, thank you, sir, may I have another? I would like you to stop saying that. So vote gold and stop saying that. If you're going to vote straight red or straight blue and then complain how things aren't working well, it's your fault. If there are gold candidates on your ballot and they're good, don't just vote gold for nothing, please. Vote gold because you got good gold candidates on your ticket, and there are lots in the state. Not every place, so some people can't vote gold everywhere. I get it. But if you've got a candidate you can vote that's gold, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? It can work. It should work. It's the answer. I'm here to show you. I'm not running for anything and I'm still here. I've crossed this state. This is my 3rd time crossing this state. Why? Because I care, because it matters. And for those of you who came out, thank you so much. You've shown that it matters to you too. Those of you watching, thank you so much. You've shown it matters. It does matter. It's important. We can make this happen. I know we can. Thank you so much. I still have my shirt. So yes. So I want to open this up for any questions or comments about either what I said or what's happening. I'm happy to go down any of those roads to kind of flesh out some things. And I said I have answers. Ask me about a problem, I'll give you an answer. I'll show you that libertarians actually have answers to these problems. And I'll even tease you and tell you what the non-existent problem solutions are for the two. Any questions or comments? Please.
So if you were the governor right now,
yep,
how would you be handling the situation in York State, all the riots?
Yes, excellent. Here's the issue when it comes to all the protests, the riots, all those things. We give you a little bit of background, then I'll give you an answer. But the question was, how would you be handling the protests and the riots if I was governor? That was the question. So first off, I'll give you 2 parts. First one is what actually happened. The response to COVID, the government response to COVID, is the biggest reason why this is happening. Why? You put 30 million Americans out of work, at home, watching Netflix with no purpose, nothing to do. And in places like cities like New York City, those of you who don't know what's happened, since 2008, there's been no real recovery except inside cities. People have rushed to cities. If you're a young person, you live in a city, you have at least 2 roommates. That's a heads are nodding, you know this. You have at least 2 roommates, if not 3 or 4. You don't care because you're never home. That's the place you go to sleep. Otherwise, you don't care. The rents are $4,000 a month. That's why you have 6 roommates, right? I'm not joking with that's why you have 6 roommates, because the rents are so high. So you don't care. You're there, you drop your, but you're out all the time. You're working, the economy, all those things, making money, trying to grow to the next level. COVID hits, gig economy is destroyed. All the jobs go away. Now you have to stay home. Now everyone's in the same room together. And half your roommates can't pay rent. Half your roommates can't pay rent. $4,000 is due. You're all sitting at home. You're going crazy. George Floyd happens. Of course you go out and protest. Of course you do. Easy to stay out and protest for days on end when you don't have to go to work the next morning. I'm not being flippant. I'm being forward on human nature. Right? If your boss tells you be at work at Monday morning at 9, you go, guys, love the protest. Yeah, here's my Molotov. I'm out. Right? That's what you do. You don't stay. You go back to work. You live your life. You keep going. So that idea of the response to COVID, remember, COVID-19 did not destroy us. COVID-19 did kill people, and it's real. And I'm sorry for those people who have lost. It's real. It can kill people. What I'm saying is that COVID-19 did not destroy our economy. The government response to COVID destroyed our economy. That's a critical piece. COVID kills people, usually elderly people with other issues, usually. But it does kill people. That's real. It doesn't kill economies. It's not what it does. Government response to it does kill economies, which you can see. Or doesn't have to, which we've also seen throughout the world. It doesn't have to destroy economies. So that was the kindling that started the spark. So if I was governor in the first place, for those of you who care, you can go to my page, The Sharpe Way, and there's an actual playlist which says COVID-19 response on it, and I have 10 videos on how to handle COVID, and I put those videos out in March. This is not Monday morning quarterbacking. I put this in real time, how you fix this. And it's already there, timestamp, 10 videos. If you care, and if you care watching, please enjoy. So I'm not a Monday morning quarterback. I was actually very much preemptive in this one. So I put that piece up. So this wouldn't have happened if I was governor. We wouldn't have had this kind of response. We actually would have had an economy that would still be slumping along a bit, but it would have been moving the whole time. By now, we would have known what was wrong. We wouldn't have had these problems at all. But let's say I messed up or I screwed up or whatever. I was lieutenant governor and the governor got fired and that took place. And I'm taking over now. The first thing you do when you have riots is realize something. Any kind of protest, riots, violence or not, the first thing you do is not immediately crack down and not immediately do nothing. Those are both the wrong answer. And we only did one or the other. Immediately crack down or do nothing. Both the wrong answer. The first thing you do is you connect. Whenever you have any conflict, personal conflict, group conflict, any conflict, the first thing is connect. You know the first thing I would have done? I would have went outside into the streets and talked to the people. I'm not joking. First thing, gone outside and talked to the people. And I would have given them a plan to make things better. Larry, how can you have a plan? I had one. Again, on my video, I did it the weekend of the riots. Out there, if you want to look, I actually put it up. I put a plan to make policing better. Was it defund the police? No. Straight defunding the police is a bad idea. You might think to yourself, oh, you're libertarian, you want to defund everything. I do. It's true. It's true. That's true. Guilty as charged. Defund everything. But I want to defund it with a plan. That I'm fine. And I want to allow local communities to defund how they want to defund. I don't want to defund from above and go, I know better. If local communities want to change their police forces, they should be able to. Absolutely. Up to them. Totally fine with that. Some people like their police force. Some don't. So change the ones that people don't like and be policed the way you want to be policed. So I would have come up with a plan immediately. And I would have physically been out in the streets with them. And I would have said, I hear you. You guys are upset. This would have happened before the violence. So there wouldn't have been the violence if I was the governor, because I would have been out in the streets talking to people and saying, here's my plan to make things better. Here is how we can fix things and reorganize. Here is how you can take charge. And when that happens, most people would have gone home. Some would have stayed. But those who stay with the violent ones, then you crack down. That's how you do it. So you're not punishing people who are innocent protesters. Innocent protesters. You don't punish them. I don't want to punish innocent protesters. Protesters should protest. That is an American thing. You should protest if you want to. Absolutely. You shouldn't be burning people's houses and stuff. No, that should be doing. So how do I differentiate? I go out and say, here's a plan. Let's talk about it. Let's fix it. Let's do it. We're good. All right. I'm going to work on that right now. You hold me accountable. You can go home back and go back to work. They would have. Bad guys would have stayed out. Then a cop. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's how you handle it. That's how anyone who's savvy would handle it. But the problem is most people, politicians, aren't concerned about actually solving problems. They're concerned about using whatever issue pops up as a wedge issue to blame the other. That's it. If you notice, all the protests, each side blames the other. Right? If you're watching now and you're a hardcore Republican, you're saying, it's all the Democrats' fault. If you're watching now and you're a hardcore Democrat, it's all Trump's fault. That's what you're thinking if you're hardcore left or hardcore right, because that's what you've been hearing. In reality, this could have been repaired, particularly locally. Particularly locally, it could have been repaired. The local people going outside doing it. Did I answer your question? Awesome. Good. Any other questions or comments? Please go ahead.
Advice.
Please.
I engage a lot with people who, on my Facebook page, who just have nothing good to say about libertarians.
Sure.
Their big thing is, we don't care about people.
Yep.
We're selfish. All we want is our own independent liberty.
Yep.
And I try to share stories of people like John Ponder, who created a really wonderful, I think it was the prison program, to help people stay, and I think his brother got shot by a police officer. Helping people. This is somebody independent who helps people. And there was another one who started a really good program. And I try to show those examples.
Yep.
But then they say I'm just, rolling these people out to push my cause. And I'm thinking, people really are capable of helping people if they're allowed.
Absolutely.
How do you argue that?
Yeah. Yeah. See you and your silly facts. Okay. Yes. Yes. You and your facts. Oh my God. So yes, no, the reality, we joked about this, weren't we, Jeff? We were joking about this. Yes, we were. Yes. You and your silly facts. So yes. No, the reality of it is what they actually want. Remember this, most of this, let me give you both sides of this so I can be clear on this. The advantage to most of the left is they have very good rhetoric. Their rhetoric feels good. Their rhetoric sounds good, right? And that's very attractive, particularly to younger people. It's attractive, right? This is Medicare for all, God, that sounds amazing, right? It's good. We care. Let's be fair and equal. Sounds amazing, right? Let's have the government give money. Sounds amazing. It's valuable, particularly for someone, the average American doesn't do much homework, right? So what do they hear? Rhetoric that feels good, and they move. And people get mad at me all the time, but it doesn't work. Politics is not only about logic. It's heavily about emotion. It's also about logic too. It's not only emotion, but it's heavily about emotion. And if, yes, for the voter, absolutely, right? It's heavily about emotion. So I've got to feel like it works. If Democrats feel better, a lot of people will vote Democrat. If Republicans feel better, a lot of people will vote Republican. Look at the Republican Party where it was able to get more Democrats. Reagan, right? Even when Bush ran, he was a compassionate conservative because that feels better. Did he actually change his policies? No, he changed his rhetoric and it worked. Rhetoric does matter. The problem is very often libertarians say things like, it's about rights, my rights. Sounds terrible. You'll never hear me say that. What do I speak about? Everybody's rights matter. Not mine, everybody's, to include mine. I never say don't tread on me, which is what libertarians always say. What do I always say? Don't tread on anybody. Don't tread on anyone. I support everybody's rights, not just mine. Everybody's is important. If you speak more that way, you'll have a better chance of getting success. The second piece, when someone attacks you and says things like, you hate children, that's why you want to get rid of public schools, or something like that. Well, that's why you want to homeschool because you hate everyone else's kids. You just want to indoctrinate your kids to be the crazy cult that whatever you are, they want to believe that, right? Okay. My point here is whenever someone brings this up, focus on the outcome. Seriously, if someone says, well, you libertarians want to get rid of the roads or whatever they say, right? They have all these types of things they say. Awesome. But don't you want better roads? But you want to get rid of the roads. Don't you want better roads? Are the roads good now? No, they're terrible. So let's have better roads. Great. Let's start talking of ways to make that happen. Now this is a conversation versus you're a bad person. Because the odds are most people want the same outcome. Not all do, some don't. But most people want the same outcome. What we fight over is the way to get there. And this is specifically libertarian for a second. It's just for libertarians. You Democrats, Republicans, you just hear it, but this is libertarian. Libertarians spend a lot of time saying things like, it's about freedom and liberty. It's not. It's not. Well, people want to be free. They don't. That's not true. That's a lie we've been telling ourselves so often for so long we begin to believe. It's simply not true. People want to be happy. That's what people want to be. For some people, that's a huge amount of freedom. For some people, that's not much freedom at all. For some people, it's something in between. People want to be happy. Our goal has to be about happiness. For those of you who watched my campaign in 2018, I very often talk about that. I said, we're about life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. People go, what? Yes, it's about happiness. I'll ask the question you hear me ask often. What one thing, the same thing, could I give every person in this room that will make you happy right now today and also happy 10 years from now? And the answer is nothing. Because you're all different. And different things will make you happy. And not just that, 10 years from now, what I gave you now that'll make you happy might not make you happy 10 years from now. You might have changed in who you are and what you want and what your goals are. They have changed, might not make you happy anymore. So if me and my magic powers can't make you happy, how can government? It can't. Our divorce papers from the UK didn't say life, liberty, and guarantee of happiness. Happiness is a right. Didn't say that. It said life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Because the reality of human beings is we will all chase happiness. All of us will. Sometimes we'll find it. Sometimes we won't. Sometimes we'll lose it and chase it again. But that's part of being human. That's part of being alive. We're all chasing happiness at one point or another. That's how it works. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. But you're always chasing it. So what can a good government do? It can give you the ability to chase happiness in the way you want to chase it. That means if you want to be free, please be free. If you'll not be free, don't be free. Semi-free, be semi-free. Just don't force your views on others. That's it. Just don't force me into your level of freedom. You take your level of freedom that works for you. Don't force me into that level and we're good. If I'm going to join a commune and give all my money to somebody, my right, my money don't bother me. Let me be a voluntary communist. Let me do that. I won't force it on you. You don't force it on me. I'm going to live off the grid. Live off the grid. Just don't make me live off the grid. All good. So speaking that way, people will kind of get it. It's about happiness. It's about what the end game is. It's a different way of talking about the Libertarian Party and the movement. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm a little further on. Thank you for bringing that up. After this election, whether Trump wins or loses, there are going to be a whole bunch of people who are unhappy in this country. Tens of millions will be unhappy. Tens of millions will be unhappy. And when that happens, where are they going to go? Sorry?
Facebook.
Yes, some are going to be upset and they're going to check out. Some are going to either do sporadic violence or incite sporadic violence. Both are the wrong answer. How about instead, they come to us? You want to be liberal? Come on in. Just don't force your view on others. You want to be conservative? Come on in. Just don't force your view on others. Be who you want to be. Join us. Join us in removing that yoke and in adding community so that we can be in the communities that we want to live in that make us happy. You want to move to the city and live in Brooklyn and hang out with the cool kids? Please do that. That's not your thing. You want to hang out and work on a farm? Awesome. Please do that. Do what's going to make you happy. And in fact, you can change. You can spend 3 years living with the cool kids, 3 years living with the cows. All good. Enjoy yourself. Whatever makes you happy. And only we say that. We're the only part that allows you to be you. New York is a wonderful, diverse state. Totally wonderful and amazing, diverse state. Most people who live in the vast majority love New York State. They just hate the government. They love the state, hate the government. Let's change the government so everyone can love the state. I said when I was running for governor, I said I would measure my success by number one metrics. Number one metric, number one. And that was, did I stop the bleeding in New York? Did I stop people leaving? After 4 years of being governor, if people were no longer leaving, no matter what else I did, I'm winning. I'm winning. And right now the reverse is happening. And for those who live in New York, you may feel, this may make you feel sad. I'm sorry for giving you some bad news. But I'm giving you an answer. I'm not just giving you bad news. Give you an answer also. If Cuomo wins in 2022, he will take this state through bankruptcy in 2023. He has no choice. There is literally no way of repairing this state at all. There's no way. No way of repairing this state. He will take it through bankruptcy in 2023. And he'll just hold on to make sure he's not the first state to go under. Illinois might go before him. Some other state will go before him. Then he'll go under. The second one. And he also wants to win the election in 2022 first, so he can't have us in bankruptcy then because he wants to win the election. 2023, state goes to bankruptcy, receivership. The federal government takes over our finances. He blames Trump, whether Trump wins or loses. He will blame Trump for everything. COVID, by the way, was the best thing that could happen to Cuomo. Best thing that could happen to our governor. Best thing.
Looked like a leader for a while.
He looked like a leader, and all of his poor management for the past 10 years now erased. He will blame every bad statistic that existed before COVID that was absolutely his fault. He will blame it on COVID. He's already doing it. See, everything would be amazing except COVID. He'll ignore the fact that we lost over 1 million people before him, that we're going to lose two representatives for the House because we've lost so much population. We're losing 2 Congress people, 2, because of his bad, horrible mismanagement and leadership. 2. He's going to blame COVID for that. So we are going to bankruptcy, but there is an answer. You know what the answer is? Vote gold. That's the answer. Vote gold. You vote gold, we can save this state. You don't, we will not. That's it. You vote gold, we will save this state. You don't, we won't. It's that simple. Go ahead.
So how
Yeah, absolutely. To be forward, I talked about this again 3 years ago. The pension bomb, I talked about it 3 years ago. Talked about all these things, how it was going to fail. What's going to happen, by the way, for those of you who have pensions, your pensions are gone in 2020, by 2020. They're done. I'm state pensions. They're gone. State pensions are finished. They're going to be over. That first off, if you don't live in New York State, the first thing Cuomo will do to save the state, if the federal government doesn't bail us out, is he will say, if you don't live in New York State, your pensions are null and void by executive order. He would just say that. Because of the power he has from this year, but what our assembly gave him, he can call anything an emergency, to include financial, which means he can override any law, override anything he wants. That's the power that our assembly that he owns gave him, because everybody in the state kept voting red or blue. That's why he got that. Now he has that. He will. Everything I said in 2017, 2018 is recorded. It's on YouTube. Everything I said happened. I'm saying this now. The first thing you'll do is make those pensions null and void by executive order. So you have to come back to New York and spend money in New York State, or you lose your pension. Those people will have pension insurance. If they're lucky, they'll get 30 cents on the dollar. If they're lucky. A person was in one of the events the other day. What did she get? 12 cents on the dollar?
She was getting 2,500, and then it went down to 300.
Yeah. Yes. This happened to a woman from New York State already. Yes. Her pension, when she went through pension insurance, she got 12 cents on the dollar. If you're lucky, you get 30 cents on the dollar. If you're lucky, she got 12 cents on the dollar. That's the first thing he'll do. That'll end the pension bomb there. Then when he puts the state to receivership, everyone's pensions are gone. They'll all look for insurance. That's what's going to happen. So I warned you of this already years ago. My answer for all of these things, first thing is, believe it or not, cryptocurrency. We have to have a local New York State coin. We create a coin, we either ping it to the actual dollar or we allow trade openly. That I'm unsure of yet, what makes the most sense. And we pay all our local debts in New York State through cryptocurrency. As we pay it all through cryptocurrency, it encourages people to spend the money in New York State. Other states will take it. If many New Yorkers go to other states will take our cryptocurrency because they want the money. So if we link it to the dollar. So maybe local states like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Massachusetts might start taking our cryptocurrency because they'll want the money that comes out of the government. They'll want that money. So that'll begin to happen. So the dollars we get in pays our debt, and the cryptocurrency pays our current, so we can actually pay our debt off. That's how you fix that problem. But we can't do that now because we threw cryptocurrency out of the state. Through guess what? Regulation. A guy named Lawsky, do this homework if you want. A guy named Lawsky was working for the government. He then created a massive maze of rules and regulations to get a license for Bitcoin called Bitcoin license. Then he left the government and became a consultant to consult people to get Bitcoin license. I'm not joking, true story. That's what happened. That's how corrupt our system is. We're really good at corruption. I mean, that's one thing we are super good at. But if you want corruption, we are up there. See, Illinois, they don't get it. Their governors go to jail. They're not as good as we are. We're way better at corruption than they are. So New Jersey's better though. Like they just mix the mob and government together. So they're actually better than we are. Any case. Yes, that's correct. Yes, we're better at it. Right? Yes, we're better at it than they are. Sorry, Illinois. Sorry. Yeah, that's good we are. So yes, but that's how you fix it. That's how you begin it. But not only that, you then begin negotiating the pensions out. The problem with pensions, obviously, is people are pensions. There are lots of people who have pensions now who are no longer working. They're not paying into it anymore. Now, libertarians go, cut it, get rid of it. I don't believe that. There was a contract made, so we have to somehow agree with the contract. We made a contract, we gotta do something. So I think you go through a payout program with them. You pay them out over a certain period of time, and you slowly negotiate it out. It's probably a 2 or 3 year negotiation, because once you negotiate with the bigger unions, the smaller ones will just fall in line, right? So you negotiate with bigger unions first to find the right payout plan to make it go away, to get the younger ones right away into the market as soon as we can, into 401ks and of that sort, the best of our ability. We figure that out, and then the rest will come into plan. But the payout is probably 10 years, is my guess. I don't know the exact numbers, but it's probably about a 10-year payout. But within 10 years, the pension's gone, right? But we do it in a way that still shows some respect to the people who did what they did and expected to get a pension. They worked expecting that. It was a contract to be made. So I want to try to the best of my ability, respect that contract while not screwing everybody else over for the future. And that's not easy. But hard doesn't mean impossible. It means hard. It can be done. I was about negotiating that last year. I said I'd begin negotiations immediately because I knew it would take me years to actually get it to work. But I said I'd start right away. So we'll start now. Negotiate that until you find the right plan to respect the contracts but not destroy us. It's not easy to do. And then maybe a little bit of give and take. It might be. But what I don't want to happen is someone's living in Florida who worked for 30 years or whatever, Department of Transportation or, Department of Corrections, whatever. They're living in Florida now and they're getting $203,000 a year in their pension. And then overnight, they're getting $25,000 a year in pension, $30,000 a year in pension overnight. That will devastate them. That will devastate them. But if instead they know we're negotiating out over the course of 10 years, here's how you can reinvest and change, they can adjust their lifestyle if required, or maybe not even required. I don't want to hammer somebody when it's not their fault, right? It's not their fault that this is the deal that we made. We should not have made that deal. That's true. But it's not their fault that we made it. But we should not have made it. It was a bad deal for us. The private sector's got on a pension plan, years ago. They knew it was done by a Ponzi scheme. They figured that out a long time ago. 401ks came because of that. Absolutely. They knew it was a Ponzi scheme. Governments we just keep taxing people. That's how we fix it. Did that answer your question? Awesome. Thank you. Yes. Any other questions or comments? Please go ahead.
I'm going to give you a little bit of context.
Please.
And then I have at least a question or two.
Okay.
So I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. I was raised by my grandfather, who's a Navy SEAL. He was also a Norfolk City police officer. I was raised by my grandparents because both my parents were drug addicts. Lost my mom 6 years ago. My dad just got out of jail after 2 years, and it was probably the 6th time he's been in jail my whole life. So the first thing that happened to me was my grandparents took me in, and they relied on welfare. My grandmother had a full-time job at 401k. My grandfather, like I said, was a Navy SEAL and a New York City police officer.
New York City or Norfolk?
Norfolk, sorry.
Norfolk, thank you. Okay.
Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay.
Right
by the Navy base, naval station.
Yep.
I know.
On 9/11, I was attending middle school at a military academy literally right across the street from the naval base, the Norfolk Naval Base. There were war sirens. We got escorted off by police.
Sure.
I moved up to Dundee, PENN YAN, the Finger Lakes region in 2001 after 9/11.
Okay.
Moved in with my parents. They never really got their shit together, so to speak.
Sure. Yep.
And so
it's a tough story. So you have two parents who, because of the drug, and those my mom was an addict, so I understand. If any of you have had addicts in your life, you realize that when addicts have a choice between the drug of choice or you, the drug wins.
Every time.
Every time. That's what happens. The drug wins. That's how it works. So you had that situation with your parents. Your grandparents bring you in.
Yep.
Your grandparents have a full-time job, and then 9/11 happens, and you pack up and you move up to New York State. Are you by yourself at this time?
No, I would have been 12 years old when I moved up here, and my parents lived up here at the time because basically the family decided to take them out of the projects in the hood,
Sure.
take them away from their connects, and things will get better. And they did for 3 years. My mom became a registered nurse.
Yep.
My dad moved up here and started making $20 an hour. But of course,
support structure is very important. I know. I agree.
Habits.
Yep.
So the first, to jump around, in 2016, I registered, and I am a proud, however, very disenfranchised Democrat.
Okay.
And my life story is the reason I got it.
Sure. I think completely.
I guess my question would be, first of all, I voted for you in 2008.
Thank you, brother. Thank
I
you.
voted for you not because I was interested in the libertarian platform.
Because I was so handsome.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah, that's why you voted for me. Thank you. So I figured, yeah, it's true. I am a good-looking man. It's true.
I was an independent my whole life. I've been through 3 election cycles. I've voted somewhere between 25 and 30 times.
Yep.
I only missed a handful of local elections. But I was interested in the person. I was interested
Sure.
in
Thank
Larry
you.
Sharpe,
I appreciate it.
not
Thank you.
the Libertarian Party. Every day you were doing 2 live streams. You're doing it now.
Doing it now. Yep.
So my question, the most important question to me is, how do we, in the 12 years that I've been an adult and interested in politics?
Yep.
I also minored in political science.
Okay.
How do we get past this? So I invited you here today.
Yep.
In doing so, I took off all my Republican friends.
Yep.
All my Democrat friends.
Yep.
And amazingly, a lot of my Libertarian friends.
Yep.
I think you actually had a conversation with one of them on my thread at one time. So when the bulk
Yep.
majority of vocal Republicans
Yep.
think every Democrat is a communist or
Yep.
socialist, and every Democrat, well, most Democrats are half.
No, everyone. It's fine.
It's, you know, they
It's
think
fine.
that Republicans are
All Republicans are Nazis, no Democrats are communists.
right.
Done. I got you. I got it.
Moving forward,
Yes.
this is, I'm very interested in the Libertarian Party and third party options and better options.
So you're saying, how do we make this work?
How, well, not only that, how do we, so I might be wrong to make you know this, but it took the UK like 12 years to introduce other parties.
UKIP took over. UKIP exploded.
So how do we, first of all, how do we get past this cold civil war
Yep.
within
Yep.
America? And also, how do we make third party options, not just the Libertarian Party?
That's the only important one.
Well, I'm not arguing that. But how do we build a nation from this cold war between red and blue?
Let me cover a couple things. I got what you said. Let me cover a couple things. Number one, I understand your issue. I dealt with a bit of it myself. And for those of you who might not know, why does someone who has had addiction in their family often become a Democrat, particularly if it's early on prior to 2000? And the reason is, if you look at what everyone was talking about, particularly Republicans were talking about, when the opioid crisis was hitting poor neighborhoods, was hitting the hood and poor neighborhoods, what did Republicans have? Their answer was just say no. That was their answer, was just say no. That's not their answer anymore, but it was just say no. So if you were around at that point watching the drug epidemic affect your poor neighborhood, the Republican Party had no answer for you. So many people who were in that world went Democrat. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
my grandfather, it's weird to say in
Yes.
2020, but my grandfather was a Democrat and a police officer.
Yes. And it probably was because his children had addiction problems.
Yep.
It's a common issue. That was a very common, the drug war that Nixon began and that was carried on through every president since then, that was assigned to the Republican Party. So many people who had addiction in their life went Democrat. That was a very common thing. But Bill Clinton changed that. Obviously, Bill Clinton was one of the most was a strong drug warrior. So was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They're all strong drug warriors. They all fought the war on drugs just as aggressively as Nixon did. But still, culturally, that has been assigned to the Republican Party, even though in reality it's been both parties.
Yep.
So yes, so that would be a reason why that would happen. For those of you who may not know why that would happen. So let me touch how we change things. What most people remember me for, almost all remember me for, is a policy or an idea that I had. It is very rare that someone goes, Larry's just talks good. Lots of people talk good. That's not that impressive. Lots of people do that. When people remember me, it's, oh, your policy on the bridges. Oh, it's your policy on regulate like onions. Or it's your K through 10 idea, right? It is one of the ideas they heard that sticks. What libertarians have to do better, and we don't. We are guilty as charged. We are not good at this. We don't have an actual plan that's obvious and clear. Sometimes I have to fight libertarian candidates, Jeff saw me do it, to get one of them to actually give their plan. They had a plan, but they got in front of people and said, liberty and freedom and liberty and freedom. I'm like, stop doing that. You have plans. Say the plans. 4 times. So we're not good at it. We have to get better at that, because when we're able, the reason why the vast majority of people come to any political party, that's not the one that was in their home. Most people, when they grow up, become the party of their parents, or if they're rebellious, the exact opposite, right? So usually the home is where most people get their initial political party from. That's the most common thing. But then why would they change? Because they heard somebody who made some sense. Somebody made some sense. Many libertarians, that was the Harry Brown, that was Ron Paul. In New York, it probably was me. You were Ron Paul?
Love Ron Paul.
There we go. Yeah, Ron
Actually,
Paul.
honestly, Ron Paul was the first politician I was ever interested
There we go, right? He said something that made sense to you, right? That's how. Libertarians have to spend less time on rhetoric and more time making sense. The more time we make sense, the more people will come to us and stay with us. That's the issue. You have the more policies, spend more time making sense and less time talking government bad. That doesn't bring people to us. right? And we do it all the time. Government bad, government's terrible, oh, bad government. While that's totally true, it doesn't bring people to it. It preaches to the choir. If you're already one of us, you clap and go, yay, bad government, but no one else cares. So that's how we make it happen. But something else, we focus on getting votes. How do we do that? By reaching out to other people. How do we do that? By focusing on our common ground. What do we all want? If you say, as an example, legalize all drugs, half the population goes, you're crazy. The population goes, you're not crazy. A quarter goes, yay, go on. That's not the right answer. But if you instead say, we have to fight drug addiction. Yeah, we do. Yeah, everyone says that. What we want is to fight drug addiction. What's a part of that? Legalizing cannabis. Taking cannabis off Schedule 1. But if I just go legalize cannabis, what? You can't do that. Oh my God, the world's gonna end. Well, let's fight drug addiction. How do we do that? I don't know. One idea would be legalizing cannabis. Oh. So focusing on the end game and having real plans and ideas that people can get connected. We do those two things, we'll be good. But as a part is one more thing. I'm trying to be the change that I want to see. I'm trying to, right? If I'm a libertarian, I don't believe in force. So I believe in my example, and I believe in my ability to convince you that I'm right to please follow me, right? I want you to voluntarily follow me. That's what I want. I can't point the finger at you if I don't point it at me first. So I want people, when they run, here's what libertarians do often. They run, they lose, goodbye. That's common. That is the norm. Have you seen it? Yep, absolutely. Yep, common. I'm the guy. Thank you. That's why I'm still here. I'm the guy who runs, loses, and I'm not done yet. I'm still not done. I'm here. I'm supporting others. I'm not running and I'm here and I'm supporting others. Democrats do that. Republicans do that. Why can't we? Well, I want us to. So I'm doing it so that when one of you runs or one of you runs and you don't do it, I can point my finger and say, what's wrong with you? Go help. Who are you to say that? I'm the guy who's doing it. That's who's saying that. I'm taking my time out of my day and my life to do it. I expect others to do it also. That's how we make it happen. So, by the way, for those who don't know, I started my plan for libertarians to all of a sudden save the world. I started that plan in 2016. It was a 10-year plan. I'm only 4 years in. I got 6 years left before we save the world. 6 years left before we save the world. We can still do it. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Good. You have one or two questions. Is there another?
Well, I guess the only piece missing from your answer would be like, what avenue do you think is best to unify, like the cold civil war between Republicans and
Yes, I'm sorry. I should have.
third party options are.
I should have been clearer. Let me be clear. I should have been clearer. Thank you. I'll cover that piece also. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Yes, there is a way to kind of unify. Here's how. Right now, in any Senate in the state in the country, any assembly in the country, if you're a Democrat and you reach across the aisle to Republican, your career is over. If you're a Republican, reach across the aisle to a Democrat, your career is over. You can't. You must vote party line. You can't do anything together. You can't. You can't. If you're libertarian, it's not true. Libertarians can talk to both sides. How do I know that? What I did, for those of you who watched my go lives, you watched my lives of my campaign. I was the same question. How many people in this room are now, over the last 2 years, registered Democrats? Hands will go up. How many registered Republicans over the last 2 years? Hands will go up. How many registered independent or anything else? Hands will go up. Always. That happened every single event. I did it live. I could have been screwed over. I was never screwed over once. Every single time that happened. Every time. You saw I did over 30 events every single month for a year and a half. And that happened every single time. You think I'm playing? They're all on YouTube. Check them yourself. Happened every time. We are the only party that unites them all. They all come to us. But not just that. You're the Democrat, you're the Republican. You're not going to talk. So I'm the conduit. That's already happened. That's already happened. When George Floyd was killed, the first thing that happened is Justin Amash came out, who's a libertarian congressman, with an idea to end qualified immunity. Justin Amash believed that the Supreme Court would never take it, and it had to go through Congress. I believe it never go through Congress, so the Supreme Court had to take it. We were both wrong. No one took it. But that bill was the first ever tripartisan bill, signed on by Democrats, Republicans, and Libertarians. That was a tripartisan bill. That's how we do it. By just having 2, 3, or 4 Libertarians in any Senate, in any assembly, anywhere in the entire country, those 1 or 2 Libertarians will be the peace brokers. They will be the brokers. People who are decades-long Democrats do not want to vote for Republican. They've been trained. They're evil. Don't do it. People who are 20, 30 years Republicans don't want to vote for a Democrat. They've been trained. They're evil. Remember, we discussed this already, right? All Republicans are Nazis, all Democrats communists, right? Can't vote for them. But they will vote for Libertarians. We saw it in the election. We see it across the country. Happens all the time. Does that answer your question now?
It does. Thank you.
That's how you do it. You guys, go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering how, if you can, briefly, what your plan is. You know, you don't want to defund the cops. How would you reorganize?
Yeah, another thing for the cops, right? The first thing that happened was defund the cops, right? And I get the emotion behind that. I do. I really do. People are angry, upset, they're mad. Get those bad cops, defund them. I get it. My father was in law enforcement. My father was a corrections officer at Rikers Island in New York City. He was also a subway cop before that. So he beat cop and he was a corrections officer. I'm not anti-law enforcement. But as I said, you asked the question, how do you fix this when it's happened? You go out and talk to them. And I already had a plan. I made up a plan that weekend. And again, it's on YouTube. I'm not a Monday morning quarterback. When it happened, I came up with a plan. So my plan is as follows. It's relatively simple. You want to defund something? My ears are open. I am a libertarian. Defund it all, absolutely. However, with a plan. With a plan. I don't want to just punish police. That's silly. But can I make policing better? Yes, I can, 100%. The plan I came up with, there's 2 different parts of it. One is overall and one is local. Here's the overall, then I'll give you local. 2 different pieces. 2 very cheesy acronyms. The first acronym is QUIC. That's overall. First, QICC, end qualified immunity. But not just for cops, for everybody. Everyone who is a government executive right now, a government official, gets qualified immunity. Everybody. Judges too in family law. Yes, they all get it. And that they are humans like anybody else. Judges are humans. Cops are humans. Cops aren't bad or good. They're humans like everybody. They're just people. So are judges. So is everybody else. So are politicians. They also get qualified immunity, right? Everyone is a person and a citizen treated the same. Number 1, and qualified immunity. Number 2, have all law enforcement officers carry their own insurance, liability insurance. Why not? Doctors do, lawyers do. As a consultant, I do. Businesses have their own insurance, don't they? You carry your own liability insurance. Why can't an officer? Of course, why not? Why would you want to do that? Right, the qualified immunity piece is obvious. This little piece is so powerful. In the reality, there aren't really that many, as we think, bad cops. The problem is, if a cop is bad and he does something wrong, he doesn't get fired. Union issues, all kind of problems, but not just that. It's in the best interest of the government agent, the government that works that the cop works for, to not punish them because they have to pay the price for it. They pay, so they allow that cop to resign. That cop resigns. What does he do? Gets a job in another county. Does something bad again. Now there's 2 incidents. All cops are bad. It's the same cop. 2 different counties. He may change states. He didn't get fired. Gets a job in another state. There's a bad thing again. Has 3 incidents. Oh, these cops are terrible. Same cop. Happens again and again and again. So many cops have bad records if you go back and look. The cop who put his knee on George Floyd's neck, record. All kind of problems. Right? All kind of problems.
Yeah.
But what if you instead had the cop had insurance? A cop makes a mistake. He's not a bad cop. He makes a mistake. It's like you having a car accident or like you having a speeding ticket. You pay a higher premium insurance for a while, and then you go back to regular. It's fine. What if he's a bad cop? his insurance premiums go so high, eventually he can't get insurance, therefore he can't be a cop anymore. Some people shouldn't be cops. That job is not for everybody. Some people shouldn't be cops. The insurance company solves that problem for us. Boom, gone. But Larry, there's no way unions would let us do that. Why not? Make the unions the brokers. Unions broker the insurance. Therefore, they make money on insurance. It's how they get dues. So now unions would actually spend their time focusing on the good cops and not on the bad cops. Right now, unions spend 90% of the time defending bad cops and 10% helping good cops. Reverse that. Now they spend 90% of the time helping good cops and 10% dealing with bad cops. Way better. You have better unions, better cops. This way I don't punish good cops. I just get rid of bad cops. That's it. They hold their insurance, changes everything. See the next one, quick, QICC. Second C. First C. First C is you take cannabis off Schedule 1. Take cannabis off Schedule 1 and cops stop by default cheesy trying to stop people for cannabis full of people with cannabis. That goes away. Why in the world there's so many people say this all the time, well, the reason why all the black people are having problems is because they have so many interactions with cops. You hear that all the time. Well, part of that's true. It isn't their fault though. What? It isn't. Bill Clinton put 150,000 cops into bad neighborhoods in the 90s. 150,000 cops directly into bad neighborhoods to fight the drug war. Well, yeah, you're gonna have more people interactions with cops when you get 100,000 cops thrown into your neighborhood. Yeah, you're gonna. How about get cannabis off Schedule 1? Those interactions go away. No need for it. It stops. It stops. But the worst part goes to the second C, which is civil asset forfeiture. What also happened during that time is when he put 100,000 cops into bad neighborhoods, he only paid for it for 2 years. You remember that, right? Only paid for it for 2 years. So now communities have to pay for these cops. No more federal money. What are you gonna do? I don't have the money. Civil asset forfeiture. Now the cops have to hunt for their own. Cops now have to hunt for their own. This is the beginnings of the mass amount of law enforcement as a profit center. That has to end. Take cannabis off Schedule 1 and end civil asset forfeiture. And a simple way of ending civil asset forfeiture is by simply making a cap that any local group can only get X dollars per year from anything seized from citizens. For example, $1,000. I made the number up, depending upon wherever you are. So you get any more, it goes back to the citizens. You simply cannot take any more than that. What would that mean? Cops would stop people for safety reasons. That's what I want. Cops would arrest people because it's a bad idea for them to not be arrested. They're doing something bad. That's what I want. Cops will be doing what I think most cops want to do, stopping bad guys. Most people join the force to stop bad guys. Then they wind up being a profit center. So that's the first part, quick. The second part is facts. This is now local, FAQS. You should remember these cute little acronyms, right? Yes. You're going to break your police force into 4 different groups or departments, each one with a community piece, segment to it. This way, in this case, if you want to defund a part of your police force, you have a community place to replace it if your community wants that. Your community decides. F is family law. I don't want cops who just left the crime scene to have to deal with a husband and wife yelling at each other with a kid there. Cops are just humans. And to be forward, our society has made cops do too much. They do everything. Any problem, send the cops. Someone wrong, send the cops. If something's going on, send the cops. I don't want that. I want a family law department where these are cops who just deal with family issues, children, spousal issues, that kind of thing. And you have a civilian component. And why isn't that civilian component? Literally, local chaplains, local churches. Why isn't there literally a chaplain sitting along with a cop in a family law unit? Why not? There's going to be times when that issue is a violent issue. The cop's there. And there's time where a little conversation would fix this. And that be it. Chaplain is there. We change everything. Your local area has an aggressive domestic violence issue. You crank up cash into that one, maybe defund some others, crank it up, maybe even transfer cops from one section to the other, and now you have a way of moving and shifting. What if you don't have much in your area? Hardly any domestic issues at all. Defund that piece down to one cop and one chaplain, life is good, move on. You can now change and shift as you like. A is active policing. That's getting the bad guys. That's, doing things like, rape, murder, robbery, that kind of stuff. That's that right there. Boom. Fraud, they deal with that. Now, the thing I got with that one is the secondary piece there is community watch. Well, Larry, we got a problem because we got active cops going into neighborhoods of color and hurting people. Okay, let's make a community watch, which will clearly, in a community of color, be a community watch of color. By default, they must talk. By default, they must make relationships because that becomes the default. That's how they police. The odds of them getting the wrong house goes away when the guy goes, no, that's not his house, that is. You got community people there. Not just that, sometimes, for those who don't know this, when people are wealthy, if you get a warrant, unless you are a celebrity where they can make the news, they don't come to your house. They call up your lawyer. I'm very serious. They call your lawyer up. They call up your lawyer. They go, you know what? I got this warrant here for Jeff, the rich guy that we all respect and love. I got a warrant for his arrest. When can he come in? And you're his lawyer. You go 100%. I will surrender him on Tuesday at 9. Is that okay? Tuesday at 9, please. At the West Courthouse. Thank you. I'm not joking. That's how that works. And then you let him know he's annoyed. You set your defense up. You show up with no belt. I've done this before. No belt. I've consulted with attorneys. No belt, no shoelaces, because you remove them when they process you. You show up already with no belt, no shoelaces, nothing in your pockets. You're covering everything. I've done this before. I'm not making this up. This is how it works. They surrender you. You then surrender. You go through, get booked. Your lawyer's there with the papers. You get up the same day. How that works. You're not rich. Kick your door in, shoot your dog, bring you in. You're a perp, walk in front of your family and friends. But in this one, you went on vacation for a day. No one knows. That's how that works. If you had a community watch, the community could surrender the people for you. The community could surrender people for you. Don't kick his door in and scare his kids. Don't kick his door in and do this. We will bring him to you when? We'll bring him to you. We'll take it for you. We will bring him to you. Don't worry about it. We got you. That could happen. Less interaction with police. That can work tremendously well. Help everybody. And moving forward, cops like this too. Cops don't want to have to go into someone's house guns a-blazing. They might get shot. They might get hurt. They might shoot somebody they shouldn't shoot. Cops like this idea too. Oh, good. We can do some investigation. You'll show up. Okay, show up. Good. They like it too. DAs love this. No chance for a problem. Oh, you'll come in? Come on in. Happy to have it. Changes everything. But more important than that, I was a Marine for 7 years. You put a Marine in the front line. You don't keep a Marine in the front line for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Marine goes to the front line for a year, 15 months at max usually. They bring him back. There's some garrison work. If you've got this program of 4 different places to go, the active duty cop, depending upon your area, again, you decide on this. Your local community decides. You can only spend 3 years active duty policing. After that, go write some tickets. Head over to the family law unit. Just sit with the chaplain for a year in a car. Do that. Get that stuff you've seen out of your head. You're just a person. That's all you are. And sometimes cops see terrible things. So how about we let them get that out? They spend a year doing something else and come back. The problem is you might say, well, why don't they do it themselves? Because cops in many cases are very similar to military people. They're tough guys. They're not going to admit they need help. I know it sounds funny, but I said this to a sheriff that you were there. I said to the sheriff, he agreed. It's true. I don't need any help. I'm Superman. I don't need any help. So they don't ask for help. But if you look at a lot of people, cops who've done bad things, they have literally a record of needing help. And no one helped them. So you make it a rule. You get 3 years in active policing, then go someplace else for a year. You want to come back, come back. If not, stay there, whatever. And now that person now gets back in active policing, rejuvenated, ready to go. But not just that. Q, quality of life, writing tickets, writing tickets, noise pollution, things like that. Now, in many urban areas, that's a big deal. In rural areas, not so much. So again, rural area, ratchet that down. That's what you defund, right? Urban area, ratchet that up. Whatever works for you in your area. Again, allowing you to do it any way you like. But there's also civilian component for that. Why don't we have people like people who work in VFWs, American Legions? Why aren't they dispatchers? Why aren't they the admin dispatcher? Let them voluntarily do it. No more money. You can defund some of the people who work in there, put them in the VFW, or whatever the case may be. The Knights of Columbus. Insert local community club you want. Of course. Last is S, social work. Social work is things like addiction problems, homelessness, things of that sort. You got a problem in your community, ratchet that up. You don't, turn it down. The civilian component there, or the community component there, is literally people from the local community college, local colleges. There's tons of students studying psychology, studying social work, studying all these things. Put them in the field. Put them directly in the field. You want to be a social worker? There's your homeless person. Let's go. Dead serious. You want to be a psychiatrist? Great. There's your person who's addicted. Deal with it. Let's go. Let's do this. How about all the teachers who are doing it? Teachers who are teaching it. Put them in the field. Give them actual experience. When they head back to the college, they're way better teachers. They've been actual experience dealing with people with all these issues and problems. Great idea. And again, if you have an amazing school that produces awesome students, ratchet the community side up and lower the police force. Why not? Happy to do it. This is an actual plan that allows each community to police themselves how they want to be policed. Everything I talk about, no new taxes, no forcing, allows local communities to decide what they want to do to be policed, how they want to be policed. Did I answer your question? It was long. Did I answer it? Awesome. Anybody else have a question or comment? Guys, thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate it. Feel free to keep watching, share this stuff online. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Remember, this year, vote gold. Thank you.